the Board of Trustees of the Harlingen Consolidated Independent School District. This meeting has been posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. We do have a quorum tonight. And would you please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. And now we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Shane Trubart.
Mr. President, board members, Dr. Cavazos, administration, and audience. Tonight's pledge will be led by Brittany Lynn Garza. Ms. Garza is a 7th grade student at Coakley Middle School. She serves as secretary of the City Council and is vice president of the school's National Junior Honor Society. She is also an active participant in UIL, Junior FFA, and choir. As she continues to earn multiple awards in her organizations, she has excelled academically by remaining on the principal's list since 3rd grade. As a citizen of our community, she volunteers her time to the Ronald McDonald House and Salvation Army. This coming fall, she will be taking a giant step in her education by entering the Harlingen School of Health Professions. With her recent acceptance, she hopes to pursue a career in medicine and be able to help those in our community. Joining her tonight are her parents, Lucio and Rebecca Garza. Ladies and gentlemen, Brittany Lynn Garza.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now you may be seated.
And thank you, Brittany. We have the PTSA Students of the Month for March, Mr. Shane Trubart.
Mr. President, board members, Dr. Cavazos, administration, and audience. Tonight, HCISD would like to recognize our March City Council PTA Students of the Month from Harlingen High School South, and Early College High School with interviews of each of these students.
I'm Brooke Tyner. I'm a senior and I go to Harlingen High School. I'm on the board of PTSA. I'm the treasurer of Speech, Drama, and Debate Club. I'm a member of National Honor Society and a member of National Technical Honor Society.
I'm Shelby Parrish. I'm a senior and I go to school at Harlingen High School. I'm involved with National Honor Society. I'm a dancer at Rio Grande Valley Art Studio, and I'm an active member of my 412 Student Ministries youth group.
It's definitely taught me leadership and how to work as a team. And it's just been a great experience because I not only get to represent the school, but the community.
I've learned the price and sacrifices you have to make to succeed, and that hard work really does pay off, and it'll just make you stronger and better in the long run.
I'm passionate about service and volunteering. I went on a mission trip and with the Calvary Baptist youth group. I got to talk to the elderlies with Alzheimer's, and it helped me listen to them and let them have the opportunity to share their stories with me. It was just a great experience overall.
I really like to draw and doodle, which is it's fun. It's a fun way to express myself and like release all the emotions that I keep inside sometimes, and that's what I enjoy doing in my free time.
I've been accepted into Mays Business School at Texas A&M University in College Station, where I plan to major in business administration.
I am going to Texas A&M College Station, and I will be majoring in environmental design, which is architecture, but it's like earth-friendly, go green kind of thing.
I'm Brianna Gaitán, and I'm a senior at Harlingen High School South. I am a member of PTSA, also a member of National Technical Honor Society. I am a member of Leo Club and Interact Club, as well as band and cheerleading.
My name is Shelby Ganon, and I attend Harlingen High School South, and I'm a senior. I've played varsity basketball for 3 years now, and I'm in the ecology club. I've been involved in student council, FCA, and NTHS.
I've learned how to manage my time more wisely. I've also found myself to become a better leader while doing these activities.
I've definitely learned the meaning of hard work and responsibility. I've learned how to be loyal to my team, and I've definitely learned how to multitask, keeping my grades up while being involved in a lot of extracurricular activities.
I have a passion for excelling in everything I do. I'm very ambitious, and I always try to challenge myself.
I'm really passionate about working hard. I feel like it's really important to put your all into everything that you've invested your time in. So I feel like I'm really passionate about working hard and giving everything my all.
I'm currently undecided, but I do plan on majoring in biology.
I plan to attend UTSA in San Antonio, and I plan to major in psychology.
My name is Daisy Gonzalez. I'm in 12th grade, and I go to Early College High School. I'm in PTSA. I am in the engineering club, which has rockets and robotics in it. I'm also in Relay for Life and the Action Team. These organizations taught me a lot of responsibility, like how to balance my extracurriculars with my school, along with to be a better person, because the Action Team actually is a community service club. So it teaches me how to take care of my environment, tells me how to be nice to other people, and just be an overall good person in life. I'm really passionate about being really good in school and having good grades and succeeding in life. I love to be nice to everybody. I just want a better life for myself and for anybody who's in my life. My plans for college are probably going to be going to UTPA to go into the pre-med school, and hopefully, if I can, become a surgeon.
At this time, I would like to ask all of the students of the month that are here tonight to stand and be recognized. I'd also like their parents to stand and be recognized. Mr. President, would you mind having the board come forward for a group photo?
Love to. Thank
All
you.
right. Students, would you please come forward for a photo?
Again, we congratulate the students and certainly the parents. We're very proud of you. We have recognition of Student Advisory Board for 2013-14 school year. Mr. Shane Strubart.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Cavazos, administration, and audience. Tonight, we honor our district's Student Advisory Board, which is comprised of 15 students from across HCISD, which represent their leadership in various campus organizations. Throughout the school year, the Student Advisory Board met once a month to discuss issues relevant to their education and provide input to the superintendent from the student perspective. This year's discussion included strategic planning, child nutrition, safety, college career readiness, and they actually helped out the city with their strategic planning as well. This is pretty stuff to say. These students also serve our community by selecting a community service project to participate in. This year, the students are creating an informational video about high school readiness to show the middle school students preparing to enter the next stage in their academic careers. Their combined efforts help administrators create a brighter future for our students and keep us on the path toward further transforming our district. Now, let us recognize the students who participated in the 2013-2014 Student Advisory Board. Mr. President, Dr. Cavazos, would you mind coming forward to help us hand out some certificates? Students, when I call your name, please come forward. Vice President Santiago Ariano, Harlingen High School South. Community Service Chairperson Sabrina Celis, Harlingen High School South. Secretary Paloma Flores from Early College High School. Miranda Garcia from Harlingen High School. Emily Susan from Harlingen High School South. V. Mai from Dr. Cano Freshman Academy. Josue Ayala from Dr. Cano Freshman Academy. Jasmine Chavez from Keys Academy. Joshua Delgado from Bella Middle School. Nathan Ramon from Vernon Middle School. Yasmin Martinez from Gutierrez Middle School. Anthony Gonzalez from Memorial Middle School. And not here tonight due to previous academic commitments, our president, Seton Yulhorn from Harlingen High School. Anthony Conde from Coakley Middle School. And HHS Representative Gilbert Bermea. At this time, I'd like to ask the entire board to come forward for a group photo.
Thank you. I'd like to ask our superintendent to make a few comments about our Student Advisory Council. It's something that is relatively new to our district, and Dr. Cavazos, talk to us about that.
Sure. Let me start by saying it's humbling to look out into the audience and see the many students who continue to represent our great district and put us on the map nationally and at the state level. The Superintendent Student Advisory Group, it's been a great year. We've had a lot of great conversations, and let me say that they've taken their role pretty seriously. They had an opportunity to have dinner with the board tonight and express their biggest takeaway from the program. And one of the things that they mentioned was the opportunity to advise the superintendent. And you should be proud of each and every one of them. They took an active role in the strategic planning process that was adopted. Our strategic plan was adopted in February. Their voice is heard loud and clear. What they shared as their highest hopes for their future has set us in a course where we will be an excellent and continue to be an excellent school district. And our mission to building world-class schools and world-class opportunities is even brighter. And so thank you, students, for advising me. Now, they did also advise what we should offer in the cafeteria as food, didn't you? And so we brought a whole selection for them to choose from and set the menu for next year. So students that are with us next year, if you don't like it, look at them very carefully. No, they did a great job, and they did, and I really appreciate it because they have really given us an opportunity to reflect on the things we do right and the things we can continue to improve in. So thank you from the superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Cavazos. Thank you. And now we have the Harlingen UIL Academic Teams District results. Mr. Santiago Villanueva.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. McShan,
Sir.
board members, Dr. Cavazos, superintendent staff, parents, students, and community members. I am honored and humbled as well but proud to recognize our students and campuses for their accomplishments in the UIL academics this year. But before I begin, as always, I must say, they wouldn't have gotten here without a lot of help. So I asked Dr. Rodriguez, Ms. Munoz, Leanne Entz, Tasha Neese, and Lucy Black, and all the coaches to please stand for a round of applause. They have spent a lot of hours supporting these students and helping them along the way to get to where they are. This is the first time ever HHS and South have earned the top spots of first and second place at a district meet. With this win, they will now compete at the regional meet being held on campus of UT San Antonio on May 2nd and 3rd. Students earned individual awards in calculator applications, editorial and headline writing, informative and persuasive speaking, Lincoln Douglas debate, prose and poetry interpretation, ready writing, social studies, cross-examination, accounting, computer science, math, number sense, and science. Wow. That's very impressive. Now, for the good things. Now let's meet the students. But I asked Dr. Cavazos and board members to please join us up here in front as I call their names. Students, would you please join us for a group photo? Now, students, I call your name. Please come to the front. Mr. Strubart will direct you. From Harlingen High School South, we have Mia Aguirre, Katie Allen, Matthew Almaguer, Matthew Cannon, Sarah Cano, Michaela Davis, Abby De Leon, Chris Esparza, Colin Flemings, John Fraga, Joshua Garcia, Angela Gonzalez, Alondra Gracia, Chris Enijosa, Brendan Martinez, June Martinez, Jeremy Marquez, Amanda Bedina, Ashley Milan, Ryan Mowers, Ashley Parnell, Rebecca Puckris, Paige Robles, Jan Soto, Joshua Tourné, Ramiro Valdez, Sawyer Warrenberg, Ben Whitman, and Paulo Wu, Harlingen High School South students. Again, I want to repeat that South won first place at the district meet. South as a team also earned spots in the top 10 in math, number sense, and speech. This is their 20th UIL Academic District Championship title, and they won the title by over 100 points. Dr. Rodriguez and Ms. Enns, would you join us as well for the photograph? Yeah, you want to, can we invite the coaches? Coaches, would you join us as well, please? Quickly. Thank you, South and coaches and students. And now for Harlingen High School. Again, they won second place in the district meet. They also won as a team. They earned the top spot in accounting, computer science, and social studies. And now for the team. Darnoldo Almazan, Miriam Atkinson, Victoria Cortez, Serena de la Cruz, Clara Duffy, Cristela Hernandez, Vanessa Hernandez, Alyssa Hobson, Fatima Izaguirre, Katrina Johnson, Amethyst Marroquin, Juan Maldonado, Gilbert Maldonado, Alexis Molina, Carlos Munoz, Emily Ornelas, Melissa Perez, Skylar Perez, Miles Rosenbaum, Eva Scott, and William Wright. That is your HHS team. Mrs. Munives, Ms. Nees, Ms. Black, and coaches, would you join us as well, please? This way. Back and forth. Ms. Neese, do you have any coach? Okay, good. All right. We are. Panoramic, right?
Yeah. I think yesterday, when I flew back to try and get my ear kept popping. My ear kept popping on the air, on the plane, on the flight. Couldn't stand it. Yeah. Can't do it. And you can't do anything about it either, right? Because so I was like sitting in the I think I sat right next to the engine, and you could hear it.
And just so you'll know, all the photographs that have been taken will be on the website tomorrow. Again, congratulations, students and campuses. Thank you very much. Mr. McShann, thank you.
On behalf of the board, we're extremely proud of our students, our parents, as we witness tonight the talent we have in our city, in our school district, and in this country. The future looks very bright. I want to just to make a statement in terms of, I know the parents are leaving, but these are outstanding students. But we also ask that you continue to challenge our board, our superintendent, to continue to be forward-thinking and what can we do to make things even better. Because we know that you're in a global world. When you leave here, we're going to be certainly dealing with a lot of challenges. So we want to be the very best that we can be. So with that, parents, Dr. Cavazos, no sweat here. They'll probably be coming in and calling you starting tomorrow. Well, how about this? How about that? No, seriously, we're very proud of our accomplishment, particularly with both high schools winning first and second in the UIL. That means a great deal. So we're proud of that, and again, congratulations. Recognition of Harlingen High School South speech drama debate students who qualified for National Tournament of Champions competitions to be held in Lexington, Kentucky on April 24th through 29th, 2014, and Mankato, Minnesota on May 8th through 12th, 2014. And the presenter, Ms. Leanne Yentz, Ms. Krista Connolly, and Ms. Julia Bremner. Did I get that right? Very well. Okay, thank you.
Hello, board president, board members, Dr. Cavazos, administrative staff, and audience. I'm so excited to be able to be here to recognize these 7 outstanding students that have truly gone above and beyond, and we like to say a step above at Harlingen South, and they truly are. I'm also really honored to be here with 2 of my former students, and I now call them my colleagues, and my right arm and my left arm, and I could not do it without them and their support. We are here to recognize 7 students who earned 2 full bids to completely and fully qualify for the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions to be held in Mankato, not sure where that's at, Minnesota, and St. Peters, Minnesota. It's going to be kind of between the 2 cities. You have to earn these bids by placing at certain designated national tournaments. These students picked up the majority of their bids at the St. Mark's School of Texas Heart of Texas Invitational in Dallas, Texas. Help me out here, girls. The University of Texas Longhorn Classic, and the big one, Harvard Invitational. So it's really something special to qualify in one event for the NIE TOC. We have students that did it in 2 and 3 events. That's exceptional. This tournament's relatively new, and I want to tell you this story for a couple of reasons. But in 2010, John Reynolds, some of you might remember that name, he won 2nd in the inaugural year of the NIE TOC. We did not even get off the stage, and the director of the #1 ranked university, Western Kentucky University, was on that panel. On the spot, he offered John Reynolds a full 4-year ride to Western Kentucky University.
Wow.
You're not only giving these kids an opportunity to compete with the best of the best, this is a scouting opportunity for these universities. I mean, they're offering big money to these kids. John Reynolds just competed in Paris, France for Western Kentucky University, where he is the world champion in dramatic interpretation.
Wow.
That's incredible.
This kid back.
And I tell you this for a couple of reasons. One, it's really cool to say HCISD produced a world champion. You don't get to say that every day. But secondly, I just want you to understand how much we appreciate you opening the doors. Like you said, it's a global world. I mean, it's big out there. These kids need to know what they're up against. And you continue year after year to get it, what we do in speech drama debate and how much it helps these students in every aspect of their life. I am so passionate about it. I would not have stayed around for 23 years if I had not had the support from you guys. So I do want to say that. But now I'm going to turn it over to these young ladies, these women, to acknowledge these outstanding students that I am so very proud of.
We'd like to acknowledge Matthew Almaguer, who will be competing in dramatic interpretation, duo interpretation, poetry, and prose. And he could not be with us today. He had a prior engagement.
We would also like to acknowledge Chris Esparza, who will be competing in dramatic interpretation, duo, poetry, and prose. And he as well could not be here this evening. He is at Chick-fil-A serving some happy customers.
That's amazing.
Matthew Cannon, competing in dramatic interpretation, duo, poetry, and prose. And he is a sophomore.
Oh, wow, just a sophomore.
Paige Robles, who will be competing in dramatic interpretation, duo, poetry, and prose. And she is a senior.
Junior. Oh, senior, yeah. Junior Rebecca Pocris, competing in duo, humorous interpretation, poetry, and prose.
Jan Soto, competing in original oratory, senior.
And sophomore Sawyer Warrenberg, competing in dramatic interpretation, duo, humorous interpretation, poetry, and prose. So we'd like to give them a round of applause.
I know it said also Lexington, Kentucky. I want to point out Jan Soto one more time. To compete at the Tournament of Champions in Lexington, Kentucky, to tell you how difficult it is, we've had 2 kids ever do it. Michael McMillan in 2004, and now Jan Soto. Wow. It is quite an accomplishment. He will be competing in extemporaneous speaking. He won first out of over 100 entries at the Churchill Classic, and that's how he qualified for this prestigious tournament. It's going to be tough, but I have no doubt he's going to come home a winner. If the board would now please step down for a photo.
Okay. Now we'll have recognition of Harlingen High School speech drama debate student who qualified for the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions to be held in St. Peter, Minnesota on May 8th through 12th. That's Ms. Tasha Neese. There you go. All right.
Good evening, Mr. President, school board members, administrative staff, and Dr. Cavazos. It is with great pleasure to stand before you today representing Harlingen High School's speech drama debate team. As you guys are fully aware of, this year has been all about setting the bar high at Harlingen High School. And one of the most rewarding things for a teacher is when you set that bar high and you watch students jump and reach it time and time again. So much so that Miss Amethyst Motto-Keen has made us raise the bar a bit higher at Harlingen High School. Amethyst Motto-Keen has qualified for the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions. And as you just heard from Mrs. Ince, this is a very prestigious accomplishment for a high school competitor. Amethyst has qualified in the event of original oratory. This is an event where she wrote, memorized, and delivered her own original speech that is 10 minutes long. This year she chose the topic of self-fulfillment and being a better you. So she inspired a lot of judges across the state, particularly at the Churchill Invitational Tournament in San Antonio and the Klein High School Tournament in Houston, Texas, where she earned both of her bids to qualify for the National Tournament of Champions. We are very excited to see the growth at Harlingen High School and to have a phenomenal leader like Miss Amethyst Motto-Keen. And the great news for us is that she's a sophomore.
What?
So we are very excited to support her in everything that she does and to give her those opportunities, just like we've been discussing tonight, to reach out to a global community, to connect with students from across the state and across the nation, to rise above and to excel. So I would love to ask the board members to come forward for a picture as we recognize Ms. Motto-Keen tonight.
This time I'd like to recognize the parents of Ms. Motto-Keen. Parents, please stand. And someone else is here very significant also. Who is that, Ms. Motto-Keen? Yes, yourself, your parents, and it was someone else.
Oh, yeah, Paul Tennyson.
You go, Mr. Tennyson. All right, yeah, thank you. All right, thank you all. All right. We're just extremely proud and congratulations. And to Tasha and Ms. Neese, thank you so very much for what you're doing. Really, thank you. Recognition of Harlingen High School South Future Business Leaders of America students who qualified for the National Leadership Conference to be held at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center in Nashville, Tennessee from June 28th through July 3rd, 2014. Mr. Marcos Almanza and Ms. Amanda Banda.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, Dr. Gavassos, and administrative staff. With your permission, we'd like to start off with the video.
Sure.
FBLA is the largest business career student organization in the world. At state competition, students are tested on business knowledge and skills. In February, Harlingen South had 28 students qualify for state competition. This year's FBLA State Leadership Conference took place at the Omni Hotel in Corpus Christi, Texas. Students competed in many events, including accounting, economics, healthcare administration, impromptu speaking, business math, business presentation, and public speaking. In addition to competing in a wide variety of events, students also participated in leadership and team building workshops, state caucus and voting sessions, participated in and conducted area meetings, heard motivational keynote speaker Lamont Hicks, and attended social and dance on the USS Lexington. Many of our students placed at the state level, such as Paige Robles, first in impromptu speaking, Jan Soto, first in public speaking, Matthew Ringanu, Christopher Cavazos, and Josh Anderson, fourth in sports and entertainment marketing, Benjamin Whitman, fifth insurance and risk MGNT, Timothy Gomez, fifth informative technology, and John Anthony Fraga, fourth business procedures. Paige Robles and Jan Soto qualified for the 2014 National Leadership Conference, which will be held June 29th through July 2nd in Nashville, Tennessee. The National Leadership Conference will be held at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. During this one-of-a-kind experience, qualifiers will compete against the best in the nation, visit with colleges and universities, network, attend cutting-edge workshops, visit historical and cultural rich sites. FBLA PBL 2013-2014, Excellence in Action.
Created using Powtoon.
At this time, I'd like to call up for recognition our FBLA winners. Jen Soto, who placed first in public speaking 2. Paige Robles, who placed first in impromptu speaking. Joshua Anderson, Christopher Cavazos, and Matthew Ringhano, who placed fourth in sports marketing management. John Anthony Fraga, who placed fourth in business procedures. Benjamin Whitman, who placed fifth in risk management. And Timothy Gomez wasn't able to be here. He was at a doctor's appointment. Now, if we could have y'all please come forward for a photo, please.
Absolutely.
right now. And could we have the parents of our wonderful members, FBLA winners, please stand for recognition?
Mr. President, I would just like to observe how much I appreciate all the excellence that we've seen here tonight and how exciting it is. And I noticed in particular on the previous one that it specifically stated that the students will be visiting colleges and universities, which is one of the goals of this board, that as our students go for competition throughout the nation or throughout wherever they are, there be an opportunity for them to see the specific universities and colleges that are there, if possible, if in the schedule. And I'm excited you're going to be seeing those particular colleges and universities. So congratulations to everybody.
Thank you, Mrs. Fourier, and the board is very proud of your accomplishments. This is special. We look forward to this. Parents in particular, we appreciate so much what you do and helping make the district what it is. Again, congratulations. I see all our friends out there, and I can't believe how young some of you are. My goodness. Unbelievable. Parents, that is. Wow. We have now recognition of Team 1. I guess this Group 6.0 members for the 2013-2014 school year is for Veronica Carton.
Mr. President, Board, Dr. Cavazos, and Superintendent staff, it gives me great pleasure to be able to recognize this evening our cadre of Team 1. Team 1 is actually a program designed to expand the talents of our current administrators who aspire to be campus principals or district level administrators. This group of individuals has engaged in a year-long program during which they participated in monthly meetings designed to acquire an in-depth learning about traits of effective leaders. Our cadre members also had the opportunity to shadow campus and district level administrators to have a deeper understanding of the role of our instructional leaders in the district. And most recently, they participated in a mock interview process to prepare them for future opportunities. These individuals have certainly dedicated so much of their own time to develop their own leadership skills, and without further ado, I would like to introduce our Team 1 cadre for 2013-2014. I will begin. Dr. Cavazos and Mr. McShann, if you'll please join me. I will begin with Heather Adair, instructional coach for Harlingen High School South. Next, we have Sonia Brandenburg, instructional coach for Harlingen High School. Dahlia Moore, assistant principal, Harlingen High School South. Beulah Rangel, assistant principal at Rodriguez Elementary. We also wanted to recognize Lázaro Moreno. He's our assistant principal at Harlingen High School, but he couldn't be with us this evening. He wants to certainly send his gratitude to our Board of Trustees and certainly to our superintendent staff. Board members, would you please join us for a photo?
And now we'll move to the approval of minutes, March 18th, 2014, regular board meeting.
Mr. President, move approval of the minutes as presented.
Second. We have a motion by Dr. Maldonado, second by Mr. Powers. Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Now we have the principal's report. We have Ms. Tina Goddard, principal for the Harlingen School of Health Professions. Ms. Goddard.
Good evening, Board President, board members, Dr. Cavazos, and administration and audience. Tonight, my presentation will highlight updates regarding Harlingen School of Health Professions. Harlingen School of Health Professions has begun the preliminary groundwork for establishing partnerships in our local medical community. These partnerships will foster the involvement of community members in the schools of study and will create the network needed to establish and support the unique experiences that will shape our students. In addition, we look forward to partnerships with the newly established UT RGV campus and future medical school. Discussions, including interdisciplinary interactions and the newest updates in the School of Study, will enhance our students as we prepare them for their 13th year focus and post-secondary endeavors. Scenario-based learning, experiences combined with rigor and relevance, will set our students apart. With the incorporation of our schools and study and AP level coursework, our students will have the academic and hands-on experiences that provide them with a competitive edge both in and out of school. The unique design of the learning space also lends itself to support small learning communities and enhance student interpersonal skills and collaborative interaction. Within our 6 schools of study, there are a multitude of opportunities for our students. As students begin their experience in the 6 areas of study during grades 8th and grade 9th, they get to actually interact in all 6 schools of study. As 10th graders, they commit to a particular path, and as 11th and 12th graders, they continue on with their studies in the practicum and then out into the field to interact with our professionals. We are currently in the progress of establishing our legacy class and that will serve as a foundation for future students. and continue the planning for their curricular experiences as we prepare for the 2014 and 2015 school year. I do want to share at this time a small glimpse of the excitement that's actually started out in the community. I think you'll be very excited to see the pieces as well as some of the social media pieces that are happening as well out in the internet world.
One of the great things that I believe will happen with this program, and that I'm really excited about, is the access to health professionals throughout the community. That access will then also provide mentoring opportunities and allowing the student to bridge the gap between what they're studying for and the actual field that they're going to be working in. That's a huge opportunity for a lot of students.
I think it's a cool concept that it's going to be focusing on the medical field. Ever since I was little, I've wanted to be a doctor. I know how competitive colleges are, and this would give me a great head start. And one of my friends texted me and said that he made it in. So I called my grandma, and she went to our house and opened our mail, and it wasn't there. So I was like really nervous. And we called my dad and had him go check his mailbox, and well, he wasn't home. So we had to drive across town and go to my dad's house, and it was there, and I started screaming in the car.
My hope is for my daughter to be able to be exposed to the many, many different fields in healthcare, not just pharmacy or the actual medical school track, but to be able to be exposed to surgery as a surgical tech or a dental assistant, dentist, even a nurse. Being exposed now, earlier in life, is going to help her to do well in school. I think the Harlingen School of Health Professions is going to give her a good foundation to move into any type of healthcare field. Now, the way healthcare is moving into a collaborative practice, learning about the different needs in the medical field that will be given to her and presented to her at school is going to help her to be able to do very well in undergrad and then move into a professional school, whether it be medical school or pharmacy school.
I think it'll give me a better perspective in the medical field, and I'm ready to pursue a career. At first I wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue a career in the medical field, but now I'm starting to realize that it would actually be really awesome to be in the medical field. I want to do something along the lines of a pediatrician, and I think the school will open my eyes to all these possibilities out there. I was ecstatic. I started texting all of my friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got in!
Here's some of the social media pieces. I hope that caught you all, and I think the all caps says it all when you see those quotes from the students. In addition to those pieces that we were able to actually record, I had a parent who was off-site and got the news from his daughter that she'd been accepted, so he decided to send me an email, so I wanted to share that with you as well. I am excited for my daughter, and I know she is overjoyed and ready for the challenge. I believe that Harlingen School of Health Professions is providing an awesome opportunity for our children's futures, especially if the medical career is what they desire in life. The Rio Grande Valley has experienced such tremendous growth these last few years, and I believe we need more homegrown professionals serving our community. Schools such as Harlingen School of Health Professions are making it possible for our graduating students to have that option. Now more than ever, our kids are deciding to remain in the Valley and establish their careers and practices here. What parent doesn't love that? Ultimately, the entire Rio Grande Valley communities are winners too. I congratulate HCISD for this awesome achievement. Mr. Rodney Corkill. So, Harlingen School of Health Professions will continue to foster this excitement as we support and enhance our students to their fullest potential. Harlingen students will be at the front of their line, whether it's at their institution of choice or program of choice. So that concludes my presentation for this evening. Are there any comments or questions?
Yes, I'm going
Absolutely.
to take the privilege to, first of all, thank you. This really represented what happened. I'm going to ask one of my colleagues, Dr. Pettis, to make some comments because he's been down this road. But I just want to say that I guess it was last month when we had a presentation to the parents and students, and some of us had an opportunity to be part of that, and I was there. I was really interested, and it was at Memorial Middle School, and the gymnasium was packed. I mean, it was amazing. I think we had 3 of 4 presentations.
3.
Three.
Yes,
I know I made 2 of them.
Yes, sir.
And the speaker was our own Manny Vela, who's president and CEO of Valley Baptist Health System, and that was really neat. And the parents there, students there, and to hear this testimonial this evening, really it is so gratifying. And to hear Jackson, was it Giannotti?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's pretty exciting. Going to the mailbox, and you know, and then Brittany, who gave the pledge, Brittany Garza, who gave the pledge tonight. To hear testimonials from students, and then of course the Munizes. We know the Muniz Pharmacy. Bobby, who's homegrown here, talk about it. It really resonated, and Dr. Pettis is going to elaborate a little bit. He'll talk about the medical school and other things. But, you know, I was reminded, Dr. Pettis, you know, when you got your letter of acceptance to medical school, I know how that goes because my daughter went through that and it was so excited. But you see what's happened? It's happened here early on, not until you got out of college and said, did I get in? But that being said, we're so proud, and it's my honor to call on Dr. Pettis to make some appropriate comments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me just say it. I do remember that day. As a matter of fact, this will make my colleague here, the Aggie, happy. But first letter I got was from A&M. And back in the day, now it's a lot different. Back in the day, they mailed theirs out in December. So I had a wonderful Christmas because I knew I got into medical school. As a matter of fact, I knew the folks there pretty well, and I thought I was going to A&M, and I was pretty much already committed to go on A&M. It was going to be awesome, you know. And they have a smaller class. Of course, it's a split campus, College Station and Temple. Of course, then I got the letter in January from Health Science Center in San Antonio, and then reality kind of set in. I had a decision to make. And so, anyway, ended up going to San Antonio because I felt it was a better fit for me. But anyway, that's a background on that.
He's lived to regret it.
Let me just make a few comments. First of all, I think we picked a phenomenal inaugural principal. We hope you're there for many years. I'm really impressed with your presentation. Let me tell you that we're at an amazing time right now in Harlingen's history, in the Valley's history, and this sort of plays right in with sort of the transformation that's occurring in the whole region. We just got back from a trip from Nashville, several of the board members and several of the Dr. Cavazos, several of his team members, and one of the things that's going on right now is everybody's realizing that the importance of small learning communities, the importance of transforming learning and teaching in the classroom, the importance of redesigning the high schools, business engagement, making learning relevant, fun, rigorous, etc. The thing is that I see Harlingen on a track is that we're going to strike that right balance, because in Nashville we learned some amazing things, and of course these educators learned a lot more than I did. I learned a lot, but the thing that I saw was the focus and the whole of their transformation in Nashville was almost entirely geared towards career readiness. The nice thing that I see with what we're doing here in Harlingen is that we're going to balance college and career readiness, and we're going to have a lot of our students. We're going to, in fact, some folks that already know they're college bound, we're going to actually inspire more to be college and professional school bound, dental school, medical school, physical therapy school, et cetera, scientists. And researchers, and I think that we're going to find that right mix and that right balance, and it couldn't come at a more opportune time, because of the new university, because of the new medical school, access to the permanent university fund. And if anybody doesn't know the valuation of that, look it up, and it's actually going to grow a lot bigger with what's going on with the oil and gas industry in Texas and right now. So we have a lot more money and a lot more resources coming down here, finally.
Great.
Higher ed is being reorganized and being transformed, and it's about time that we do the same thing and set the example in Harlingen to develop the pipeline that'll feed the university and the medical school and all the professional schools that are coming down the road. So really proud of what you're doing, really proud of this, and I think that we've got to just get more kids inspired. And I like what you're doing already, getting all the pharmacists, the hospitals, you know, the CEOs, the doctors involved, because Bobby Muniz said it, you know, hit it right on the head. It's all, you know, life is all about relationships, about mentoring and that kind of stuff. And when you put these kids not only in the classroom, but then in the setting of you know, put it in context with what sort of the end of the tunnel looks like, that's so inspiring for these kids. And I've said this before to my board. I've seen just the simple concept of the CNE program in my surgery center here in town. They come in with the initial idea that, well, I just want to do this because I want to get a job. And at the end of that program, now suddenly they want to become an RN. They want to become something, you know, even higher, aspire to be something higher than they initially sought. And the ones that do come in wanting to be a doctor or a dentist, they're even further committed. And they have more resolve to do that because of the relationships they develop with myself or anesthesiologists or the nurses or other doctors they meet in the hospital and in the surgery center. So what we're doing is right on the money. Congratulations, and let us know how we can do what we can do to support you.
Absolutely. It has been a very exciting and rewarding experience reading all those applications and the stories. And there have been a lot of students who have had personal experiences that have driven them to now this point where they say, this is absolutely what I want to do. They've either had a loss of a loved one or had a hospice care worker or somebody come in and touch their lives and made them change their mind and said, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to reciprocate and give this back to the community. So it is very powerful, very, very powerful. And thank you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Ms. Garza. Ms. Flourier?
I would just like to add a personal thank you, Ms. Garza. I can remember so many years ago hearing Mr. McShann talking then at the time about a flagship school. And I think of where we are in this district now with so many flagship schools, but that's what you're doing. You are creating a unique flagship school for us in this district, and we could not have been more fortunate than we are to have you leading this charge. We are just very excited. And you know, back at the time when Dr. Cigarro was here, I remember when he met you, you know, the excitement and the energy that happened in that conversation. And I thought to myself, this is what's happening all over town with everyone to whom you speak. So thank you for representing us so well. Thank you. You're creating a fabulous flagship school for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Fourier. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to also say that the public we will be enrolling 125 8th graders and 125 9th graders. So as 250 students will get started this 2014-15 school year. And also I want to acknowledge the media for their support. The Valley Morning Star in particular have done an outstanding job of letting the public know about the Harlingen Schools of Health profession. Done an outstanding job. We really appreciate that. Wonderful articles in the paper, and we appreciate that very much. So thank you. Public comments. Having none, we'll move to approval of consent agenda. Approval proclamations of Dr. Cavazos.
So it's very appropriate to have the first proclamation, which is National Volunteer Week. As you know, and we did just return from Nashville, where we learned the importance and the value of volunteers and the contributions they can make to our school systems. Communities thrive with the assistance of volunteers as they inspire and mobilize people to take action to improve their communities and the quality of life of their citizens. Volunteers offer their services and time without compensation and are often members of our community with full-time jobs and additional responsibilities. Each one of our board members are here as volunteers, and we truly appreciate them as well. We thank the volunteers across our district and city and region that offer their services and encourage others to follow suit as we work together on behalf of our community and our school system. HCISD proclaims April 6th through the 12th as National Volunteer Week and I urge our community to join us in recognizing these outstanding individuals who serve with compassion and understanding for the betterment of our 18,500 plus students. The second proclamation is also very appropriate in that it's National Teacher Appreciation Week, May 5th through the 9th. Teachers serve our students each day by opening their minds and hearts to the possibilities that education can provide while providing them the means to succeed in society. Tonight, as we did last month at our board meeting, we saw the benefits and all the things that come true with our outstanding teachers as they work with our students day in and day out. Encouraging students to dream, they adapt to the individual needs of each student to create relevant and meaningful lessons that help guide them toward discovering their path in life, whether it be in college or in the workforce. They fill many roles in a student's life and often act as listeners, role models, motivators, and support systems. All of the adults here today are here as a result of the great education they received. Their lessons frequently remain in the memories of students for years after they exit the classrooms and become productive members of society. I can't help but remember what Leanne said earlier about the student who competed at the world level. That doesn't happen by chance. It happens on the shoulders and on the spirit of the teachers in our district. We're committed and we work tirelessly to ensure that we have quality teachers in each one of our classrooms. And our work will not end until that becomes a reality in Harlingen CISD. We will be the district of choice and continue to welcome our students and prepare them for their future. HCISD brings forward a proclamation to proclaim May 5th through the 9th to be celebrated as National Teacher Appreciation Week. Let us take this time to honor those who impact the lives of our students and continue to shape public education in our state and in our nation. And so the teachers that are in our audience, thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cavazos. Now we have the resolution supporting Mexican American Studies course. Dr. Noyola.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Cavazos, superintendent, staff. Our State Board of Education State Representative, Mr. Ruben Cortez, will be proposing a measure at the next agency meeting asking for the creation of a course on Mexican American Studies. In support of this measure, we are bringing forward your permission for a resolution to support Mr. Cortez in his pursuit of the creation of this course. Again, it's designed to expose and bring to our kids their culture, their background, and make that part of their learning, as we often talk about the importance of bringing relevance to the instruction and to the learning that our students experience. This would fall right in line with what we're trying to accomplish within our district.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Noyola. Very well. Award of proposals and contracts, Mr. Gracia. Perhaps a motive there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Give me a little insight.
Never got on a pause before.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We presented to you agenda item 6C for the award of proposals. We have one significant item on this agenda tonight, and that would be the award of contract for the band uniforms for Harlingen High School. I believe,
Mr. Gracia, with that being said, I understand that tonight we're going to have some band uniforms being modeled by students. And Dr. Quintana, you're not modeling the uniforms, but I understand that we have that. So Dr. Quintana, please introduce us to our students and tell us a little bit about the uniforms.
Actually, I've also invited Mr. Rios to come this evening.
Mr. Ronnie Rios. Mr. Ronnie Rios.
And his student, Philip Magallanes is here to model for us this evening. And I've asked Mr. Rios to tell us a little bit about the uniform.
I remember seeing that.
Greetings, Dr. Cavazos,
Greetings, sir.
School board members, ladies and gentlemen. Honored to be here tonight. I'm going to bring up Philip, our student. It's going to model this uniform.
Wow.
And just real quick, just kind of a history, everybody, of marching bands. Don't want to bore anybody. Marching bands came from marching military bands. I'm sure a lot of you already know that. You know, imagine the United States Marine Corps marching band.
Right.
And their uniform, maybe white pants and a red jacket, you know, real, regiment in nature. And then the flags that they use were the American flags. And that has evolved to what we have today, what you see on Friday Night Lights. You don't see American flags now. You'll see all kinds of different silks and different patterns and colors and all kinds of different colors with uniforms and so on and so forth. So through the decades, as the uniforms evolved, they kind of developed their own thumbprint. They have their own identity now. So through the decades, the marching band uniform has developed more sophistication, more artistry. It displays more pageantry. What I've learned through competition here in the past, years that I've been in the Harlingen School District, I know that to develop a winning edge, you got to bring something new to the table. If you have a smart, intellectual, original thought or idea, that usually wins championships because people want to see something new, at the arena. So I'm excited because this uniform is unlike you've ever seen. It was designed especially for HHS students. Let me demonstrate. If you'll notice that this uniform has, I think, both pageantry, the artistry, and the sophistication all in one. The red that you see on the uniform is a printed color. It's not a fabric. It's black on the inside right there. It's red. It's different colors on the outside. You can relax for a second. And you'll notice that when you have a different color material, you're limited. Like you have, a black material, then it's sewed into maybe a red material like a dress or a suit or whatever. This is actually printed on the uniform. So the world is wide open when you're talking prints. That's what I like about this uniform. There is no uniform like this anywhere in South Texas. So it's very, very original. It's unlike we've ever seen. What I like also is it demonstrates or puts out a lot of red. And we want people to know that on Friday nights and Saturday nights and so on, that we mean Cardinal business. So that's why I like all the red in there.
Red band, huh?
The last uniforms that we had displayed and portrayed a lot of white. I don't know if you remember that. We had a lot of white on top, white gauntlets, white gloves. The performer will actually have black gloves. And so you see a lot more red on the front of this thing. Also, what I like is we try to make a more audio-visual connection to the audience, what they're seeing from the performers, what they're hearing musically. They'll hear, when we're facing the audience, they'll see and hear a rich, glorious sound. When the performer turns around and faces backfield, go ahead and face back. The music can become more dark, more abstract, just like the color of the uniform, where it's darker as the performer goes away. The music gets a little softer and so forth. You can turn back around. So there's two tones, obviously, in the plume and the hat. And I got the plumes purposely as tall as they made them, the feathers, because I want our students to look super tall. That makes a difference when we go compete against other marching bands. What I also like about this uniform is I can wash this thing for 10 years every weekend.
Really?
In the days of old, I used to have to wait a few weekends before I could wash them because they were so expensive to dry clean.
Right.
But I can put these in the washer like a mom was washing their son's baseball uniform, and the next morning it'll smell great. We can put it on the performer. 10 years later, it'll look just like that.
Wow.
It's the same designer that I had for the last uniforms, except this is a printed material. We also have reflective devices on the actual uniform. Up top in the shako, you see a big square. I want to turn around and show the audience. And then we have 2 mirrors on the uniform. Turn back around. That will reflect light. So there's always like sparkles coming from the performers. And of course you see the print. It looks like there's sparkles coming from the print. You can't do that with regular a uniform. We can also take off these acrylic mirrors. And of course, they're not dangerous at all. It's just a little plastic thing. And we can save them for the night show. We can march the performer like this during the day and then put these on at night.
Wow.
When the lights come up. And so I want to thank Julio Cavazos, Dr. Cavazos, our superintendent, Mr. Gracia here, and Dr. Quintana, everybody that supported our efforts. I put a panel of parents, directors, and students together, and we had about 6 or 7 different designs to choose from. Most of the designs, everybody had a variation of that, somewhere in South Texas, somewhere in the valley. So we wanted to go with something that no one has ever seen before. So thank you for your attention tonight. This is our uniform that our committee has chosen to show you tonight.
He does a great job. You do a great job.
What do you think? Wow. Well, thank you so very much. Not only strategic, innovative, creative, all those things. My goodness. Thank you so very much. Look sharp. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
By the way, his chore list at home just got a lot smaller. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. Thank you, Dr. Quintana.
Mr. Rios, this will take you to the state championship next year, right?
Is that pressure, added pressure? We're hoping not to disappoint anyone and do our very best.
You haven't. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. And the continuation of our consent agenda budget amendments, tax refunds, monthly tax collection information, monthly financials. That concludes our consent agenda.
Mr. President, move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Maldonado, second by Mr. De Leon. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Matters relating to transformation and school support. We have Innovation Technology Committee report. Dr. Cavazos.
Yes, Mr. President, board members, senior team, and of course the audience. We had 3 items on the Innovation and Technology Committee meeting held on March 25th, 2014 at 5 p.m. These items were directly aligned to our newly adopted strategic plan that was adopted in February. The first item, there was a long discussion and great excitement centered around our redesigned talent acquisition initiative. And so we will be acquiring talent and hiring people using a different format that allows for early identification of talent, securing that talent for the positions and vacancies that come open. In addition to that, we will be looking at hiring people through recruitment processes that are innovative and bring forth the strongest talent that we can acquire. We run, based on that report, we hire about 120 teachers annually. This will position this district to hire those individuals at a time when talent is ripe and it is available for us to hire. Also discussed that evening was our House Bill 5 community and student engagement. It is an assessment instrument that is required at the state level, that the district assess themselves in the fine arts area, in the athletics area, and other areas as identified at the state level. That is being headed up by my Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Alicia Noyola, who presented that evening. And finally, we presented through Julio Cavazos, our Chief Financial Officer, and Judy Baker, the Child Nutrition Director, as we continue to review. Contrary to what some might think, we are a poverty-stricken district. When we compare ourselves to other districts throughout the state, with our quality programs and our continued success, people wouldn't think that. But with that in mind, we continue to run our algorithms to determine whether we are in a position now as a district to offer universal feeding, which would provide feeding for 100% of our students at free of charge. As we continue to review that and continue to look at that throughout the next couple of months, we hope to bring a recommendation to the Board of Trustees in May. And so I want to thank our chair, Dr. Perez, who continues to chair the Innovation and Technology Committee, and of course every board member who continues to provide those agenda items that they feel need to make it to the agenda. Mr. De Leon, thank you. He continues to be a proponent for and pushing us to ensure that when we reach the point for provision 2 or universal feeding, that we take that opportunity as a district, and so he has championed that, and so thank you, Mr. De Leon, for that. And so I'll turn it over to the chair if he'd like to add anything. That was our meeting of March 25th.
No, just again, I thank you for a short turnaround because we took a trip to Nashville, and I think that that was nice of you to move the meeting up and keep the sort of schedule on track. So I appreciate that, Doc.
Well, thank you very much. Now we have consideration and approval of voluntary teacher incentive agreement for early notification of resignation from employment.
I could get used to these rounds of applause. As I'm coming up. Board President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Cavazos, and Superintendent staff. This evening, I'm here to expand a little bit on what we discussed at our Innovation and Technology Committee meeting this last month. We did speak to some of the components of our talent acquisition in NHCISD, and Dr. Cavazos alluded to a couple of the things that we're going to be working on this evening. But this evening, I want to start out by reminding everybody that part of our talent acquisition and our redesign of how we're going to be acquiring talent all goes back to our second goal. In particular, we're looking at specific result 2.1, which is to implement a transform recruitment plan to attract highly effective educators. So this kind of sets the stage for the rest of this evening's presentation. Earlier, Dr. Cavazos spoke a little bit about the number of teachers that we hire per year, and we worked with our Human Services Department, and we identified 3 years of longitudinal data. And so that data told us that we hire roughly about 119 teachers a year. So when you consider that that's about 10% of our teacher workforce, we know that we need to get it right whenever we bring those people on board. Part of that 119 are also some of our teachers that we hire after our first bell. And so as we have looked at this redesign, we really wanted to make sure that we were going to be proactive and that we were going to have a model that would allow us to have the greatest maximum level of achievement with our, success with our model. So if you take into account that our longitudinal data tells us that we have roughly about 119 teachers we hire per year, the other piece that's extremely important for us right now is to be able to identify vacancies early on. So traditionally, if we have a resignation or a notice of retirement, we don't have a incentive program for that. So this evening, what we're doing is we're bringing forward something for you to consider as a board, and that would be the Voluntary Teacher Incentive Agreement for Early Notification of Resignation from Employment. Essentially what this is a stipend for, an incentive for our teachers. It would be restricted just to our classroom teachers, and those that have an early notice on or before April 24th that let us know that they will either be retiring or resigning at the end of their contract year would be eligible for a $350 stipend. This is an essential piece of our model because we want to be able to identify those vacancies early on. Strategically, that April 24th date was placed because, as you remember, our talent acquisition event is on May the 3rd. So we want to be able to give principals advance notice about the vacancies that they're anticipating, and certainly we want to do that in a timely manner so that we can prepare for our talent acquisition event. So should you accept and approve the incentive program, our next step then would be certainly to share this with our HCISD teachers, make sure that they're well informed of that, and I would work with Mr. Strubhart and his department to make sure that we communicate that message. The eligibility window would be open until April 24th at 4:30, at which time they would need to have completed all of their retirement or resignation paperwork along with the agreement for the incentive. Any employee who has already designated that may be eligible for the incentive pay, but that would need to be part of our process. And then lastly, the completed paperwork would all be processed with our Department of Human Services. This is an incentive program, and as we've looked at models around the country and certainly in our state, it is imperative that we have those vacancies early on so that we can start filling those vacancies with great talent early in the summer, so that we can kind of front load that piece. Mr. President?
Thank you so very much, Ms. Gorton. Any questions regarding this?
Mr. President, I move approval.
We have a motion by Dr. Pettis, second by Mr. Powers. Is there discussion? I want to say that this proposal is not only strategic, but if you take the athletic analogy, you know, football, basketball, baseball, all those things, they have draft choices. You want to be in the first round. If you get to the first round, that's talent. We're competing with schools not just here in the Rio Grande Valley, but throughout the state and the nation. And what we're doing in our district, there will be highly effective teachers and potential teachers that want to come to Harlingen. But if we wait until late, they have other choices. So I think it's great. I want to really thank staff for this idea. I just want to make those comments. Yes.
I also have a comment, and
Mr. De Leon.
I agree wholeheartedly with your sentiments, Mr. President, and with my distinguished colleagues that put the motion in on the second. And I think it is a great idea. I think it's a great incentive for the teachers. And I'm just wondering, maybe in the future we can go one step further with administration, with principals, assistant principals, because that's we need to know it as early as possible for principals and assistant principals as well. So maybe something you want to consider in the future.
And we have looked at what the expansion of this incentive program is going to be. So for this year, we're starting certainly with our classroom teachers, and we do understand that there's a great need to know about our administrators as well. So as we look to expand this entire program, we can certainly keep that in mind and also look at the timing, because if we know in December, we're that much further ahead in the ball game. And so we looked at a staircase approach, and so perhaps next year this incentive program will look a little different.
Great job, Veronica.
And thank you for your comment.
Mr. President, I would like to
Yes.
ask
Ms.
this. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
And not necessarily to be discussed tonight, but one thing that came to my mind as we were talking is this is such an excellent idea. You know, however, it is it really is based upon the people who are going to apply having a prior knowledge of just how special and unique this district is before they come, before May. And so I'm sure, knowing you and knowing Mr. Strupart, that you all are busily working on how we're going to project some kind of image of ourselves, an accurate image of just how special and innovative and transformative HCISD 2014, 2015, and on is. So at some point when it's appropriate, I'd really like for us to hear about that.
And you know, there's been a lot of departments, as you can imagine. The entire senior team has come in and has supported this, and working closely with Mr. Cavazos and certainly Mr. Strubhart and Dr. Neola and everybody. And Human Services has brought so much information to us to share with us. But as you can imagine, behind the scenes, we have done a lot of the marketing piece. Actually, Loretta Sanchez is our Director for Talent Acquisition, and she was actually at a job fair at UT today, so couldn't be here with us this evening. But we have been working diligently, and she's really put a lot of time in, as well as Jennifer Maldonado, to make sure that we're working with our communications department and really focusing in on the marketing. I agree with you. There's a lot of excitement in the air, and we have wonderful things in our district. We have a lot to be proud of, and so we have been, you know, really thinking about that strategically, and we want to capitalize on that as well. So I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot come your way here in the next couple of months.
It'll be great to see. I felt
it's exciting.
That's great. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yes, thank
All
you.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Matters related to curriculum and instruction, approval of out-of-state trip for HHS at South, speech drama debate team to compete at the Tournament of Champions for extemporaneous speaking at the University of Kentucky in Lexington on April 24th through 29th, 2014. There we are, Ms. Leanne. Yes. Okay. And
Once again, good
Julie.
evening, board members.
Yes.
We would just like to ask for your approval to attend the speech drama debate team, to attend the Tournament of Champions for Extemporaneous Speaking at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. The dates are April 24th through the 29th.
And it will just be Jan Soto, Ms. Brebner going as the judge, and I will be going as the coach.
President, I move for approval.
Motion, Mr. Powers.
I second the motion.
Second, Mrs. Fleury. Is there discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Approval of out-of-state trip for the Harlingen High School South Speech Drama Debate Team to compete at the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions in Mankato, Minnesota on May 8th through 12th, 2014. And
Thank you, members of
Christy
the board.
Connolly, right? Ms.
Yes.
Connolly? Thank you.
Thank you. So we are also asking for permission to travel out of state to compete at the Tournament of Champions in Mankato, Minnesota. The dates are May 8th through the 12th, 2014.
Move approval.
Motion by Mr. Powers, second by Mr. DeLeon. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Approval of out-of-state trip for Harlingen High School student to attend the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions in St. Peter, Minnesota, May 8th through 12th. Ms. Tasha Neese.
We are asking for approval to attend the National Individual Event Tournament of Champions in Minnesota. Same dates as Harlingen South will be traveling for Amethyst Madokin, our student who is qualified.
I move approval, Mr. President.
Well, motion by Ms. Flourier, second by Mr. Powers. There discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Very well. Approval of out-of-state trip for Harlingen High School South Future Business Leaders of America students to compete in a National Leadership Conference to be held at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center at Nashville, Tennessee from June 28th through July the 3rd.
Yes, sir. We're asking permission for our FBLA winners to attend this National Leadership Conference and competition in Nashville, Tennessee.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Powers, second by Dr. Pettis. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Approval of out-of-state trip for the Harlingen High School Engineering and Tech Club Rocketry team to attend the national finals for the Team America Rocketry Challenge to be held in Manassas, Virginia on May 8th through 11th, 2014. Mr. Paul Tennyson. Yeah, bring him up.
Mr. McChann, members of the board, Dr. Cavazos, administrative staff. I'd just like to share a little information about the Engineering and Tech Club. Was started in September of 2000. The mission of the club is to encourage academic growth in the field of engineering and technology and encourage students to pursue careers in engineering. The goal was to develop teams to compete at various robotics, rocketry, and general engineering competitions throughout the year. We hold regular meetings Mondays and Wednesdays after school. I have about 20 active members. This year we had 2 teams competing in the Team America Rocketry Challenge, or TARC, to design, build, and fly rockets to meet specific objectives in altitude, flight duration, and payload recovery. I'm pleased to announce that one of our teams has qualified for national competition held in Washington, D.C. I have the members here with me, or 6 of our members, all 6 on the team. Club president and project leader, Austin Wright. Officers, Julio Beatriz, Christian Ambris, Vincent Trevino, and team members Alexia Carmona and Juan Carrion.
All right.
And we would like to request permission to travel to Washington, D.C. on May 8th through 12th, participate in the Team America Rocketry Challenge National Competition.
All right.
Make a motion for approval.
I'll second the motion. We have a motion by Mr. De Leon, second by Mrs. Young. Is there discussion?
Mr. President, I've got a comment.
Yes, sir. Dr. Maldonado.
This is an exciting time for you, and I'm sure you're going to come back with a great experience in rocketry. But earlier we heard about the School for Health Professions, and if you looked at one of the shields that was shown by the principal, the word biomedical was up there. Biomedical engineering is a fascinating field. Doctors do wonderful things, but it's only because engineers empower them to do those wonderful things. So when you come back with your experience from your competition, putting your applications over to that School of Health Professions so you can be the new generation of designers for all these devices that a lot of us up here are going to be depending on in the next couple of decades. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Maldonado. Thank you very much. Well said. Mr. Powers.
Students, you all probably don't know it, but Dr. Maldonado's degree is in engineering, so.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so we're very proud of you, and Mr. Tennyson, you've been in this for a long time. Appreciate all you do with Project Lead the Way and so many other things. We appreciate that, and students, we're proud of you. And young lady, I'm particularly proud of you.
That's
really,
right.
that you're doing this. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can we get a photo with the board? Can we go ahead and get a photo with the students and the board together?
Sure.
Yeah.
We didn't vote.
No, he was great.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. It's gonna get they didn't leave, right? Very well.
Made you Wait.
Mr.
Okay.
President,
Anticipation.
Mr. President.
Mrs. Flurier.
Yeah. I would just like to comment that the reputation of this group has spread nationwide, and some of us were in New Orleans for the National School Board Conference and Training this past weekend, and several of us were given the very pleasant task of bringing greetings to Gabe Valdez, who is the other engineering teacher sitting out there.
Awesome.
From Project Lead the Way. They asked us to say hello.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You and Mr. Tennyson, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much, and we want to thank the parents. I also recognize the parents for being here.
Great job.
Thank you for your support. Thank you. Now we have approval of instructional materials allotment certification. Mr. Tom Hopkins.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Cavazos, I am seeking approval of the instructional materials allotment certification and the selection of materials from Proclamation 2014. The certification is to ensure that the district is using its instructional materials allotment to obtain materials that cover all essential knowledge and skills for the subject areas listed on the form. The administration has put in place procedures for ensuring the district is using materials that meet the essential knowledge and skills. Also included is a list of materials from Proclamation 2014 that have been recommended for selection by the district. For background information, the timeline for the selection process included from November 2013 through the end of January 2014. Teachers and staff met with publisher representatives and evaluated samples of the materials. On January 13th and 14th, instructional material hearings were held at Harlingen High School South. Publishers were scheduled for presentations for each subject area. Attendance included teachers from our district and those from neighboring districts. On February 5th, the teachers voted on the materials, and runoff voting was held on February 12th. The Instructional Materials Allotment Committee met on March 3rd to review voting results and finalize the selection process for the recommended list.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hopkins.
Make a motion for approval.
A motion by Mr. De Leon.
Second.
Second by Mr. Powers. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed. Motion carries. Thank you.
Right.
Matters related to business services, consideration and approval of extension of insurance coverage for property and contents named windstorm, hail, flood, and boiler and machinery, CSP number INSR 0413. Mr. Cavazos.
Thank you, Mr. McShane, Dr. Cavazos, board members. Agenda item 9A is consideration to approve extension of our insurance for property and contents. This is the second of a 3-year proposal subject to renewal every year. We're recommending the renewal rate of $969,175.65 with Shepherd Walton, the current carrier. That's a reduction of about $82,000 from the previous year. They did give us an alternate to increase our windstorm coverage by $50 million, but that would cost an additional $40,000. So we felt the coverage we had would suffice.
Very well. Mr. Powers, yes, sir.
Mr. Cavasso, what do you attribute to that terrific savings of $82,000?
I think it's the market, the current condition of the insurance market, which really it's a key factor in the rates. So we feel
rates
that
have come down overall?
Yes.
Okay,
Very well.
Good job.
Yeah, well, thank you to Mr. Gracia. He's been working with the agent as well, so appreciate that.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
I move for approval.
A motion by Mr. Powers.
Second.
Second by Dr. Pettis. Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration approval of award of the HCISD pavilions, canopies, and additions project, CSP number CNST 0214-01. Mr. Gracia.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Board President, Dr. Vassos, board members, staff. We received 2 competitive proposals for this particular project. The project is, the recommendation that will be made by Mr. Tapia is under budget, and we'd like for y'all to consider the award tonight. Tapia.
Thank you, Mr. Gracia. As Mr. Gracia stated, we had 2 bids on this project.
And after the committee ranked them, the best offer turned out to be Alpha Construction with the most points. We did enter into some negotiations to try to get a better price, since they were not the lowest price, and they submitted a reduction of $72,700. The handout that you have there says 72.4, but when you add them up, it comes out to 72.7. So I just wanted to emphasize that. We're also recommending we take alternate number 1, which is extending electrical power to the tennis courts at Gutierrez. When that school was built, they didn't have any electrical power out there. So when you add the base bid of $1,105,000 with the alternate 1, it comes out to $1,110,682, less the proposed reduction of 72.7, comes out to $1,037,982. And we are under budget. Our budget was $1.1 million.
Okay, very good.
So administration is recommending approval of the project to Alpha Construction and set amount. Are there any questions?
Any questions of Mr. Tapia?
Make a motion for approval?
Motion by Mr. De Leon,
I second the motion.
second by Mrs. Flourier. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Consideration approval of the Vernon Middle School renovations Phase 3 project CSP number CNST 0414-01. Mr. Gracia.
Yes, again, Mr. Board President, Dr. Cavazos, board members, on this particular project, we did receive multiple bids. We received a total of 7. The ranking sheet was enclosed for your review. In this particular case, we are recommending the highest ranked offer also is the lowest bidder on the particular project. Mr. Tapia, would you like to add something to that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gracia. We're basically just recommending the base bid at $167,000. No alternates are being recommended. Any questions?
Any questions, Mr. Tapia?
Mr. President, I move approval.
You have a motion by Dr. Pettis.
Second.
Second, Mr. Powers. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Matters relating to district operations, facilities committee report, Mr. Tapia.
Yes, thank you, President McShann, members of the board, Dr. Cavazos. Facilities Committee meeting was held March 25th. Items discussed were a presentation on the district's property assessment and other future needs report. Mr. Julio Cavazos presented a list of all the district-owned properties, and as well as our vacant list of inventory of property. We discussed future needs and future growth and where we need to position ourselves for future acquisition of properties for the future, as we had done in the past. The properties we bought in the past, we've pretty much built on them all. So we want to continue that same pattern to plan for the future. The next item we discussed was an update on the School of Health Professions. And then we went on to the school bond programs, discussed the status of the Aquatic Center, the near completion of the 9th grade academy with the last phase. The classroom wing addition at Jefferson is underway. We also went over several small projects like some re-roofing, HVAC lighting upgrades, the Harlingen kitchen renovation project, the projects that we just awarded a little while ago, those projects we discussed, that they were being bid at that time. And we also went over a change order for Jefferson re-roofing and close out of Treasury Hills report. And finally, Julio Cavazos gave an update on the construction funds financial report. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Tapia. Dr. Maldonado chairs the Facilities Committee, and Dr. Maldonado, do you have any comments at this time?
Thank you, Mr. President. I was not able to be at the meeting. Mr. Powers chaired on my behalf, so I will turn the floor to Mr. Powers.
I think Oscar's covered everything very well, and everything's going really smoothly right now. So.
Well, thank you, board members, for your work, and thank you, Mr. Tapia. Thank you very much. We'll now move to the approval of final construction payment to Spa Glass Contractors and Inc. for the Treasure Hills Elementary high roof repairs project. Mr. Tapia.
Yes, President McShann, members of the school board. Final payment, we received the final payment from Spa Glass Construction on the Treasure Hills high roof repairs project. They are complete. And before we release the final payment, policy CV does require that school board approve the final payment. It's in the amount of $26,195 with 1 cent. Administration recommends approval.
I move for approval.
Have a motion by Mr. Powers,
Second.
second by Mrs. Fleury. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. It is 8:41. The board will adjourn to close the executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082, the Open Meeting Act, for the following purposes: consultation with district attorney regarding legal issues concerning settlement of dispute with general contractors on the agriculture farm project. Discussion, superintendent's formative evaluation and contract terms. Discussion, recommendations regarding employment of renewal of educators and professional contracts for probationary term and other contract employment. Discuss termination of probationary contract teacher at the end of the 2013-2014 school year. We are now in closed session. Consideration and possible action concerning settlement of dispute with general contract on the agriculture farm project.
I move approval of the action concerning settlement of dispute with general contractor on the agricultural farm project as discussed during executive session.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Maldonado, second by Mr. Powers. Is there discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. The motion carries. Consider possible action pertaining to superintendent's contract.
Mr. President, I move approval of action pertaining to superintendent's contract as discussed during executive session.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Maldonado, second by Mr. De Leon. Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carries. Consider recommendations regarding employment of the renewal of educators and professional contracts for probationary term and other contract employment. Do I hear a motion recommending that the board renew the probationary contract employment of teachers and other professionals as recommended by administration, and that the board employ those employees under a one-year probationary contract for 2014-2015 school year?
Mr. President, I move that the board renew the probationary contract of teachers and other professionals as recommended by administration for one-year probationary contract for the 2014-15 school year, and I further authorize the board president to execute employment contracts to the employees accepting this offer.
I have a motion by Mrs. Fleury,
Second.
second by Dr. Pettis. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. The motion carries. Term contract employment, including those probationary employees who graduate to term. Do I hear a motion recommending that the board employ teachers and other professionals as recommended by administration under one-year contracts for the 2014-15 school year?
Mr. President, I move that the board employ teachers and other professionals as recommended by administration under one-year term contracts for the 2014-2015 school year, and I further authorize the board president to execute employment contracts to the employees accepting this offer.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Powers, second by Mr. De Leon. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Probationary contract renewal of non-Chapter 21 employees. Do I hear a motion recommending that the board renew the probationary contract employment of non-Chapter 21 employees as recommended by administration, and that the board employ those employees under a one-year probationary contract
For one-year probationary contracts for the succeeding 2014-2015 school year. And I further authorize the board president to execute employment contracts to the employees accepting this offer.
A motion by Mrs. Fleury.
I'll second.
A second by Mrs. Young. Is there discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Non-Chapter 21 term contracts renewal. Do I hear a motion that the board extend the one-year non-Chapter 21 term contracts of non-Chapter 21 employees as recommended by administration for the 2014-15 school year?
Mr. Mr. President, I move that the board extend the one-year non-Chapter 21 term contracts of non-Chapter 21 employees as recommended by administration for the 2014-2015 school year, and I further authorize the board president to execute employment contracts to the employees accepting this offer.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Powers, second by Dr. Maldonado. Is there discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Probationary contract termination at end of contract period. Do I hear a motion recommending that in the best interest of the district, the board terminate the probationary contract employment of Carla Mieta at the end of her current probationary contract period?
I move that in the board's judgment, the best interest of the district will be served by terminating the probationary contract employment of Carla Mendieta at the end of her current contract period. And I further move that the board authorize the superintendent on its behalf to provide the employee with timely written notice of the board's action as required by law.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Young, second by Dr. Pettis. Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries, and this regular board meeting is adjourned.